Farah. Hello, welcome. I'm a little bit late, but it's because I have no makeup on. And then I decided to, as we populate the room, just put a little on. However, we are going to talk about, and probably, I'm just going to throw out a number, 5 minutes or less, 90-Day Fiance. This will be the other way, which is not the usual way of just regular old, where, the Americans are beckoning their loved ones that they've met abroad to come to America. These are the ones that are like, you know what? We're going to come to you. We're like Postmates. The other way. So we are kind of like comfortably in the season of season 7. This will be episode 9. It's no moss. It's a live recap, honey. No moss, needing no more. I'm just going to put on, a little foundation, which will do a world of good. This looks like it's going to be like a little light for me. But you know what? Here's the thing, in winter, it's hard. I'm transitioning. How are you all? Happy November. How is everything? I hope that you had a great holiday weekend in LA, or, I mean, national news, the Dodgers won, which was, big deal. We love our sports teams here in LA. And so, yeah, that was really great. I'm happy for us. I'm also, God bless the Blue Jays. It's hard to do sports. I'm excited to talk about this show. On the docket for the week, tomorrow we'll be talking about Sister Wives, and I'm really into that. And you guys, coming up, the biggest news ever, and that's relative. Obviously, I talk only in the space of like dumb pop culture. And so in that world, the biggest news ever is that Secret Lives and Mormon Wives are coming back. And we get to know, hopefully, because Hulu does a very good job of keeping it super relevant and super like up to date. It's funny how like certain shows are so behind the times. For instance, like Sister Wives, obviously, as I just brought up, like tapes and shows 2 years afterwards. And like, I don't watch the Kardashians, but I feel like the Kardashians were like at least 6 months where you would know what was happening in real time, and then 6 months later when their show would be on. However, yeah, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, for some reason, it feels like it happened last week. So having said that, I'm assuming they're going to talk and have Whitney being on Dancing with the Stars and stuff like that. This really does look so white. Well, God bless. You know what happened, babes? I actually had I got a little sun today. I didn't think I got that much sun, and it was because you have to be on top of your seasonal affective disorder. So I ended up just like going out, getting a little sun, thusly, I guess, tanner than I thought. And now I'm a little ghost with this makeup, and I'm just going to blend it all. And then I'm going to just give myself an eye so you don't have to look at literally a Casper, and then a little color, and then be on my way. Don't even worry. But I hope you're watching fun things. Hi, Joslo. Hi, Hawaiian dude. Hi. Hey. Hey. So happy to see fun people. I hope that your holidays were good. I had like a crazy uh I didn't do a good job taking care of myself last week in the realm of time management, scheduling for the things I wanted to do. And so things I wanted to do, I didn't end up doing well, which I'm annoyed, and I get annoyed by that. I hate doing things mediocrely, and I'm an extremist person, so I can go from like, it's like all or nothing. So having said that, I really wanted to do a good job on this one thing, and then looking back, I'm like, why would I think I'd be doing a good job on that thing if I maintained the schedule around it that I did? That's not like a feasible thing. If you were just talking that out to someone, they'd be like, that doesn't sound rational. And sometimes, unfortunately, as rational as I think I am, I overwhelm myself and I don't, and then I end up not being that rational. So at this point, we're just going to add a little. God, I look so white. Oh no. Boy, did I get tan. I mean, who knew? I sat outdoors for like 45 minutes drinking some coffee. And I mean, I don't know if it's just because my skin was like, we miss it. But now I'm basically Casper. I'm so white. Who knew? Okay. I mean, what I'm obviously trying to say is the makeup that I'm putting on is too white, but I've come this far. I do have a little bronzer. I'm just gonna use. I do like this bronzer. It's like the Victoria Beckham one. And it's a little like stylish. You can really get it. When I first watched her use it, she like did it to contour her nose, which I thought was great. But the truth of the matter is like, you don't really want bronzer to be like splooched on. It should be kind of like a demure amount so that you can, of course, add and then like place it where you want. But okay, let's just bring some life back to this face and not look like I'm on death's door. Okay. All right. Okay. So 6 minutes. All right, my loves, let's go ahead and start talking about this show. I was really into this episode because we finally got, and so I feel like we should start with it. We finally got Michelle. We've been wanting Michelle, and Michelle, of course, is Khloe's mom. Now, here's the thing. I forgot that Michelle has the accent that she does, right? Like, I forgot that. She sounds a little bit like Lois from Family Guy sometimes, allegedly. I mean, you know what I'm saying? She like, "Oh, Peter," but it's not that because it's less than that. But for a moment, every other ending of the sentence is, whew, there's an accent. I like that. Nothing wrong with an accent. I love it. But yeah, like Khloe doesn't have it as much. So yeah, I guess that's what I thought was interesting. So, um, they go to pick her up. They're wearing kind of like matching black tank tops and like she's wearing really short jean shorts. She's Khloe. She's having fun. Khloe's living her best life. She's like a fast talking, smart blonde girl who probably got everything she ever wanted in life. And now she has like this like older guy that makes her feel like she's so fucking cool because she gets to tell all her like 20 nothing year olds that she's like moving to Aruba to be with this like older hot guy who has his own place. They're like, "Oh my god." And then like the whole time Michelle's like, "This isn't shit. You guys don't know she's using bar soap." Anyway, so um obviously we find out that not obviously, but Michelle's going to be staying with them, and usually she doesn't stay with them. Usually she stays at a hotel or at a rental. And Michelle likes nice things and so does Khloe, and Johnny is doing great work, but like I think that two things. We don't know what is like rational for Aruba and and she doesn't know like what normal is. Like or what is the livable situation in Aruba. You know what I'm saying? She comes off of the plane dressed well. She has like a little like almost Chanel looking tweed number. It's like a two-piece, there's buttons. She smells good. Chloe's like, "Yes, I like that smell. Honey, it's my mom. It's rich. It's that rich smell." I'm like, "Is that Shalimar? Like, what is it that you smell?" Because I know it's a perfume. I like to think like Shalimar is like decidedly 80s. It's like what my mom used. Like there was like a whole generation of women who like did a lot of like Shalimar and opium, like, and if you are a lady of a certain year, then what I'm even talking about is like what your mom, wore. And then like in the 90s, it was kind of like Tresor was like the older lady. And then like there's the ones like Chanel number 5 that I supposedly are like timeless. I'll be honest, Chanel Number 5 never really did it for me. I like other Chanel fragrances. I think that the Chanel Boy one's really, really good. Anyway, so basically, Chloe knows that her mom likes things a certain way and that her mom's face lies the way it does, which is doesn't lie, isn't a poker face, just sits there. And she knows that her mom isn't going to be like super into what Johnny is providing. And that stinks because Johnny's doing like a really lovely job, like It's just that she is privileged. Like, so is the mom. So am I. But I'm like, like the mom's this is the mom's face. It is like decidedly scared when she sees Johnny's home. By the way, Johnny has like a full, beautiful house. It's just that I don't know what she expected because I can't okay, in my mind, I'm just gonna put on a little more. I can't imagine that she expected Johnny to have a mansion. And she walks around Johnny's house like sort of like being somewhat shocked that Johnny like doesn't have hot water and stuff like that. Now we know this conversation because it already happened when Khloe was there. And we were like, well, Khloe, like, girl, like, yeah, like not every place has all the things that you have where you are, it makes sense that you would understand that, or I don't know. Sh- Michelle's seasoned. Michelle's like a whole ass woman. So for Michelle to not kind of have a little bit of a heads up of what she's walking into seems crazy to me a little bit. So as we know, they go in and we by the way, side note is, and the producers left this in. Did you love the fact that the producers left in like right before we saw that Chloe's mom's face when she saw the home? She had said something like, "Yeah, and by the way, no one was beside me in first class." No one was beside you in first class? You wanted even more room after first class? Like, you wanted people to even be more impressed or like wanted to feel even better for you? You already have first class. Why do you want more room? That's not even I just thought that was so what a weird statement to make. Also, Johnny doesn't fly first class. Why are you saying that in front of him? Like, you didn't even have to say the first class. You'd be like, "And no one sat by me." Which was so easy. Like, if she had never said the first class and she was just like, "Yeah, on the way here, I was so great. No one sat by me." We would all be like, "Yeah, okay, good, Michelle. We love when we don't get sit by as well, like, but that's not what happened. So of course she gets pulled up. She pulls up and then she walks around the house. She's like, oh, just not used to so many levels. Usually I like one floor and then I like a second floor on top and then a third floor, but she walks into the room, she's like this is an interesting thing. So they show him the dumb stove and she like goes over the stove and she doesn't like the oven, big deal. And like, one of the little weird kitchen kind of fake frames pops off when he's touching the microwave. But at the same time, she walks into the room and he's like, "Well, this is what your daughter loves to sleep." And then they go into their room, which is his room and his bed. And I was like, that's not it's an interesting way of saying that. Only like, was that you diarrhea of the mouth? Like, are you trying to low key be like, this is where your daughter loves to sleep in my bed? We fuck. I don't know. I felt like that. I just thought it was a weird thing. But anyway, also like, why wouldn't your daughter love to sleep in the bedroom? Like, it makes more sense for you to be like, this is where your daughter loves to sleep, and it's like a little nook somewhere that gets like a little sunlight, like she's a little cat or something. Anyway, so do you guys think that was weird? But anyway, so then she walks in the room, Michelle, and she's like, "Where's the closets?" And he's like, "That is the closet." And it's just, it's an armoire or it's like it's a closet. It's a detached closet. I just assume that detached closets are called armoires. Now, you don't have to say it like that, and surely you shouldn't, but his is just a little white and square so that she like didn't understand what it was, but she I think really thinks that Chloe's gonna bring all of her Revolve packages that she sent like to Aruba. I think she also has this thing where Chloe's like, "Oh, I'm afraid of my mom," and the way that she might judge Johnny. But there's also a part of Michelle that really wants Johnny to understand the daughter she raised, which is like a little mini me. Because just like Michelle's going around being like, "Okay, let's see what's happening with the water. Oh, there's no hot water because it's a hot island, and it's like that'd be a lot of money and they don't have the infrastructure. I understand what's happening like in a over kind of like an third eye, kind of third. I don't know. I'm understanding the whole like social economic structure of this island. I'm not just living in my own bubble. I'm not Michelle. But at the same time, she's like, oh, I could never. I only bathe in 98.1 water. It has to be the water of like a basic low grade fever. I'm not quite sure what low grade fevers are, but she's like, it's barbaric. Barbaric is such a horrible word that if you are at all mindful as a person, but specifically, I'm just going to go on saying, like, as any sort of person that resembles a colonizing culture. And here's the thing, I'm Syrian Lebanese, but I understand that I look white. So I would never even say that because you can't say barbaric. Just you don't I mean, you have to understand like your privilege and how horrible and out of touch and rude that sounds. It's rude. It's weird because there's a part of like the Michelles of the world that I think is like, oh, civilized people, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, okay, straight up civilized people aren't rude. Like hoity toity, snooty people are always like thinking they're high class and thinking that they have like an elegance or an etiquetteness about them. But it's like basicness is like not to be rude to someone. Like there's no place on God's green earth that you can justify going into someone's home and being like barbaric. I mean, what? Girl. Nope. I mean, that's not it. Can't be it. But it was it. It was it. And then Chloe was like, this is it. This is where it came. This is where I know it's happening. And maybe she gave him that like comment because she was upset that he was like, this is where your daughter loves to sleep on my dick, kind of. What do you guys think? Um, he said he likes Michelle. A little lip. So basically they go and look for a car. So because as we know, she's just sitting there all day. And when she's not spying, he has a job. She doesn't have a job. I don't know exactly the layout of Aruba to know like where their place is in relationship to where things are. I'll be honest that I was like, can't you get a bike? For a long, I was like, why don't you get a bike? Only because I mean, I don't know, bike, but that wasn't an option. You could rent a car. And she does. And she's like, yeah, it's so expensive. It's like $600 a month. And I was like, that is expensive. I thought that would be, I mean, I thought it'd be way more. I guess you lease a car. You can lease a car, a very expensive car for $600 a month. But this becomes a thing where then she's going to get a car and her mom's taking her. Where's Johnny? Not there. Probably because he doesn't want to deal with whether he can afford or not afford one and whether they're going to like fight or not. I don't know if he's going, he probably is going to work, but like low key, I'm like, why aren't you going to go on your spy mountain and show your mom that? Then as he drives them to the dealership, he's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Here's the thing. You can get a car for like $3,000. And in that moment, Michelle was like, we'll see. And we were like, oh, fuck. When Johnny said that, I wanted to know the following things. Is that him trying to pacify to be like, yeah, this is a good idea. This will work out. Is that him being like, yeah, Chloe and Michelle will totally be happy with a $3,000 car? Or is he like, oh, that's how much? Yeah, that's what cars are. They are so out of sync when it comes to some things that it's a little scary. Um, Basically, then they go and look for a car, and before they even let the guy say hi, he's like, Michelle's like, the small ones, the already owned ones, thank you very much, and they go in the back, and they look at nice cars. Now, thankfully, there's like some exchange of numbers that are happening because Aruba money is different. Aruban dollars, it's not Ruben dollars. But basically, the cars that are seeing, which you can tell are the cars that she would like not want to go lower than for whatever reason, by the looks and her mom looks and just what I'm assuming that she drives at home. And of course that she was like, "Oh, look at this vintage Mercedes." And her mom's like, "Absolutely not. All the cars are like $14,000 and they're not great." And then she's like, Michelle talked to the gentleman there, and she's like, "Okay, we were told there's $3,000 cars here in Aruba. Where's the $3,000 one?" They're like, "Yeah, that's where you get off the street, where you like know someone, where you go on the internet and you like find someone, and then you like go look at it. You go see if it runs. You hope for the best, see if they are sketchy or if they give you good vibes or whatnot. But that's it. Like that's not something you get here." And Khloe hears this, and for a moment, Khloe's like, "Okay, well, that's what we have to do." But her mom's like, "Well, absolutely not. No streetcars for my daughter." And it's funny is because they keep calling them streetcars, and it is. I get what they're saying, but there's also this thing where it's like, well, you probably also find them on the internet. Like the first stop would be like internet, and then yes, you would go to probably a street because those were the cars usually end up being, and then you would like talk to someone, you would take it away. Now she might get a lemon, but you might, I mean, I don't know what laws are anywhere for lemon laws. It's you can't get a lemon, honey. Maybe the mom's like, yeah, this nice gentleman won't sell me a lemon, but I wonder like what, yeah, I don't know, I wonder what his Yelp reviews are. Also, the mom is low key like, who's paying for this? Because it's not me. I've been paying for things. And Chloe's like, yeah, no, I didn't ask you to pay for it, but I also didn't ask you not to pay for it. And I was just going to like have you here and hope for the best. Like, why bring you if you're not going to pay for it? I could have just brought Johnny. He's not here for a reason. Then they like tally up things. Her mom is like, I've given you $20,000 to fly back and forth here. And then she's like, Khloe in a confessional is like, yeah, my mom probably thought that he was just a fling, but like not someone I would move away with or move in with. And I also just kind of like the idea that Khloe's mom paid all that money for her daughter to have a fling. There is something kind of supportive about that. Some moms wouldn't do that, but like she was like, yeah, I'm into this. I'm just fixing a little of my eye because even though I said I was done, the truth of the matter is I keep looking at myself and I'm like, she has no eyes. How do I fix this for her? She should have eyes. Okay. So basically, after that point, they don't get the car because they can't afford one. And Khloe realizes that she's probably going to have to just rent or, I don't know, get a scooter or like become an Uber driver if there's not that on the island, which is scary, but God bless. I mean, she's going to have to work on that ship. That's what she should do. Instead of just sitting there spying, she should go work on the ship because he's going to have a very hard time flirting with women when those two blue eyes are staring in a corner at him. It's so smart. I mean, plus he has a ride there. She knows that he's going to be there, and also then she can be friends with everyone he works with too. And then they also will like keep him from cheating. I don't know why she doesn't know that yet. Maybe she's like, one of us has to have a career. One of us can't work as a jolly pirate. But I'm saying, girl, for a second, if one of you guys should be on the ship, it should probably be you. Is there like a fun wench role that she can do? Or wait, pirate wench? Yeah, wench, right? Yeah, there's a wench. The thing about her is that I think that she's funny. And I actually do think that she could be like, if she wanted to be like at least someone who tried out in an acting world or an improv world because she's snappy. And so, what if her whole thing was she became a wench on this jolly pirate ship, really fell in love with playing a character, and was just like, this isn't for me. And then, I don't know, got on a cruise ship and then made her way back to America and became an artist. She would still have to have her mom pay for things. But you know what? I mean, her mom, I think, would be happily paying for things for her to live in LA or even in New York over Aruba. And yeah, it's funny because she, as I said, she does not like bar soap, and either do I. Bar soap is drawing. Bar soap is slippery and it's hard to deal with. And then bar soap just sits there, and wherever it's sitting, just it gets stuck to that in some weird film. There's no like easy way to use bar soap. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about Luke and Madeline. So they meet up, honey, on a bridge, and she has wild hair. I mean, we get a shot of what looks like obviously extensions that she's wrapped around a ponytail with her own hair and then try to leave out some blobbity blues. And the blobbity blues are like going left and right. Now, Luke is there because he obviously fucked up hardcore by telling her that he let his dumb Fraser Park friends get an exotic dancer to come for one night to Fraser Park to a room and just like straddle him and dance. Okay, it was such a big deal, but she is so pissed. So he sees her and that hair and he's like, "You look good." And she's like, "Always." Good. Good for her. Always. I can't even imagine. Yeah. I feel like it's so hard for me to have like certain confidence about certain things, especially about looks for some reason. Okay. So anyway, she brings up the fact that she has to be there for the property and the business that they have. Here's the thing. She's standing on her business. She's like, "Luke, we have multiple businesses in our names. And by our names, I mean your name when it should be in our name because it's all my contacts I've used to like fund your dumb resort." Right. And he set up before that there's this thing where she wants him to put the lease of the land or the deed of the property or whatever that he's building this resort in both of their names when it's only in his name. And supposedly he wants to marry her and all that stuff. So it's like they're building their life together, but this is like what he's had beforehand, even though he supposedly had the eyeglass and the jewelry line and all the engineering, God bless me, he has nothing because he's blown it all on her and continues to blow it on her. And she's like, "Yeah, you put it in my name," which, listen, he shouldn't do. But also, he shouldn't be with her. He should like get his shit together. You know what I'm saying? Because he doesn't have his shit together. And she's getting her shit together by hell or high water. She's getting his shit together for her. So basically, he cries, and when confronted by her that like he should put the property in their name. He says, "We will have a lot in our name." And she just is like, "Okay, good." She like sort of acquiesces to him in that moment that that's enough. But that's not what you wanted, and that's not what he said. You said you wanted that property in your name, and then he said, "We will have a lot in our name." And our name is interesting because he could be super traditional about it being like, "Our name being my name. Because when I get married to you, your name is my name." I'm not quite sure what he meant by that, but I'm surprised she didn't say something. I don't know if it's because translation, she was like, "He said my name, but he didn't." Um, he cries, and then again, she's like, "All right." And he's like, "I want another chance." And she's like, "All right, well, another chance, absolutely not, because no, but I will like hang out with you to see what happens, but we won't have sex. Won't fuck or whatever is what I mean, in no certain terms does. So then what happens is that they go to some bazaar and there's a nice lady, and this nice lady is like a mystic, honey. She's a little brouhaha. She's a little witchy, little bit, little of the pagan, tiny of the earth mother kind of situation. And it's his idea to bring her here so that they can have a cleansing, a spiritual cleansing. And so by that, this woman ends up cleansing him because the thought process is he's cheated on Madeline, which not really happened, with this exotic dancer slash stripper who we saw happened. And yes, that person straddled him, but Madeline, I guess, is so upset about the close on close contact that what ends up happening is this woman has to like take in the bad energy from his penis area, like channel her hands around his dick, sort of pull the bad stripper energy off his penis and groin area, and then smush it away and blow it like fine dust. It was great. That was great. No, I was happy about that. I do love that. That's like the ultimate fuck you. And then he's like, "All right, does Madeline have to do that too?" And they're like, "No, you would need it more." And I was like, "Great." I was so happy about that. But then the next part's weird where then like that was great, but then she wraps them in like red yarn. And here's the thing. Madeline just got done being like, "It's a chance." And then he's like, "Yeah, a chance where I'm just going to immediately start calling you baby and then put us in like in a sexual romantic cleanse." We knew, obviously, that this wasn't the end. Obviously. So there was no like pulling the wool over my eyes, Madeline, that you're like, "I don't know. I don't know if this is gonna work." I'm leaning towards it's not gonna work, is what Madeline says. Right. Sure, Jan. Okay. So basically we only had 3 couples this episode. And so that's kind of the end. We're again supposed to be like what's going to happen, but we know they're going to get back together. He should put it in her name. At this point he should just give her everything. It seems like she is like it seems like he's a pay pig. It seems like he is just in a full findom relationship with her, and I think that she's right in that she's probably a better use of his money than he would be. And he's allowing it, if not getting off on it. So what am I? Who am I to judge? Not want to judge. More like wow, how and wow. Is there a word for how and wow together? Whoa. Wow. No, but I certainly tried. Just take a moment wherever you are and try and say a word that is wow and how together. It's hard. No, it's hard. I mean, you really have to wrap your mind around even like where your mouth's going to start, where your lips will start. And it's dealer's choice, I guess. Let's move on to Mano and Anthony. We are hot in the heels of the baptism dinner of Ben, and they're at a pizzeria in France. Yep. And it's called Amidst, um, or something like that. I realize I put it as Amidst, and then I don't know if it was changed, but this looks like a beautiful restaurant where the food looks really, really good and the atmosphere looks lovely. All this to say that they picked a good location, whoever they were, like whether it was Manon or whether it was the producers. And either way, I think it's good to like good call out of a good choice. So, as we know, Anthony has used Ben as an excuse to leave this event because Ben is tired. And so he must now go. When we all know, he said it, so it's like not a big surprise that he's also leaving because he can smell what's happening on Manon's breath, and it's alcohol, and it's building. And, she's obviously one to be very open with the trials and tribulations of her family. So, like, no one wants to be around that person drunk around her biggest enemies, her own family in this situation. Like, he's only too happy to be like, Ben's tired, gotta go, Ben, even though we're like, oh, okay, just, and this is what I said, like, to me, you guys are hosting the dinner, so you have to stay. You're hosting the dinner. You're a host, you, Anthony, are the father of the child being baptized. That's why you can't leave. It's why it's weird. It's like it should have been one of her family members. It should have been her mom or something. Even if you're like, yeah, her mom is hosting too. In this situation, it's like, I don't know. It just is obvious why he would leave. And I feel like it set a tone of the thing. Like in this moment, when he leaves, Manon doesn't understand, nor does she. Either she doesn't want to understand, either she doesn't understand or doesn't want to get that she is getting on thin ice in the energy of the room because she is getting drunk. and they already don't trust her. Like, they already don't trust this person to not make a scene or be highly reactive or, like, be defensive or start like, that's already one thing. She has been back there, and now she's drinking, like, often, and so Ben leaves. We get a small moment of Marie, her sister, like, saying goodbye to Ben, who's, of course, the godmother, and then right back in the restaurant, Manon's like, "1 more of the passion fruit mojitos," or whatever, and then her mom's like, "Virgin? You should have a virgin now, like, no more," and, like, Anthony has already said something and she's like not upset about that. It's interesting because it's not often that someone tells well, me because it's not often someone tells me that I've been drinking too much. It's because I hate the idea of looking sloppy or messy in public. So the minute that I realize that I'm drunker than majority of the people in the room, I tend to exit stage right, like as soon as possible. It's like almost like a cringy embarrassment that comes over me. I'm not saying that that's good or bad, but I'll tell you Manon has, like, the opposite, where people are, like, not as drunk and not drinking, and she's just ordering, and they're like, "Girl, nope," and she's like, "Fuck you," throwing them back. So then we get this thing where it's like, she's obviously talked about her family being, intense for her or whatnot, and we've obviously seen her being super intense, and we've gotten, like, that they've body shamed her, and we get this other information, which is that she has an aunt, Christine, who started talking about her badly because she thought that Manon was talking about her family badly, is the story we're supposed to believe. Now, when this happens, we're like, well, you did. Yeah, you did. Yeah, she's right. You did. I know you did. Christine is correct. So what ends up happening is that she's on that side and her family's staring at her in bullets, and Christine's husband and baby leaves. Sorry, not Christine, obviously Manon. And Manon gets up and then tries to, I guess, be the bigger person or show people she's mature or host well or whatnot. But she sort of finds an empty chair by Christine, and Christine doesn't really want to talk. Doesn't seem like she wants to like really open up at anything. And then Manon sits down. She's like, "Oh, Christine, thank you so much for being here. It's so nice that you're here. I wanted to invite you to personally make sure that all the past is the past, because the past is the past, and yeah, those things happened in the past, but we got over them." And Christine's like, "Yep." And Manon's like, and so it's really important that we relieve we know that we are family and that the past is where it should be, which is back there, and we're here now, and it's good. It's all really, really good. And her family, Manon, is just staring at her like, bitch, why? Don't say anything. If the past is the past and it was already there, you know why it's not in the past right now? Because in our present, you're saying it. Presently, you're talking about it. You know who wasn't talking about it? Christine. Christine was eating whatever kind of pizza. I'll tell you what she wasn't enjoying, the chambon. She didn't like the chambon. Chambon, to me, is one of two things or two things. It's either cheese or it's champagne. It's a cheesy champagne. It's a champagne kind of cheese. It's a region, Campbell, where they make both champagne and cheese. I'm not quite sure, but I'll tell you, it wasn't up to Christine's liking, honey. She didn't like it. Mm-mm. PU, she said, not for me. And then basically, Manon I don't know if Manon heard that. And then that's what kind of launched her into saying what she said. It's just that it's bitchy. It's just that it's like underscore a sort of curtness, a sort of like frigidness, a sort of like elitistness to be like, I invited you because I wanted to make sure that we all knew the past was in the past and we forgive each other. It's like, do you see the position you're putting yourself in, girl? And that's why I think Christine was like, I don't know. There's a part of me that's like, I unfortunately think Manon is at her root an obnoxious person at her core. She's Obnoxious. I feel like we don't use that word anymore. And I don't know what everyone's idea of it is, but she takes herself very seriously and she doesn't allow space for other people. And I will say that those two things are like also things I fear about myself. But I see it with her. And I think that that's kind of like why her family is like, she doesn't think her family gives her the grace or compassion that in her mind they should. And it's because of the underlying current that they find her obnoxious. They already find her obnoxious. She's not starting at like the same as everyone else. She doesn't understand her natural personality and energy is making it so there's like an arm's length. So the minute that she shows anything, they're like, ugh. Basically what happens after that weird conversation with Christine, the night ends and she comes outside and this is her vantage point because it's not filmed, which why? What the what were the cameras doing? At that time, eating pizza? Like what there wasn't one camera? Like I don't, it's just weird. I hate when this stuff happens. It's like why have a docuseries if you're just going to have Manon be like, "It was crazy." I don't know why I can't do that French accent, but like I came out and my family wouldn't look at me and my sister was like mad at me and I said, "What's the matter?" And then my sister was like, you have to always think about yourself and not the fact that other people have to be your family or whatever. Now, I don't know if that was in relationship to the Christine conversation or something else we didn't see because we've been not seeing things 90 Day Fiance producers, but it almost felt like she was just embarrassed that that Manon would bring up the past while having a conversation how she doesn't want to bring up the past and how she herself took it upon herself to invite Christine so as not to bringing up the past, which is cringy, but like it feels like something else happened. The sister had like something else where like, yeah, Manon was just obnoxious or drunk or sloppy or messy or like just too much in a way that just wasn't checking herself, that just expects everyone to go along with her when it's just like not fun to be around. It's like toxic, weird, gross, uncomfortable energy. No one wants to be around someone who's like obviously drunk and upset and or in a weird space, especially if they're not drunk. The only time that people enjoy being drunk usually are when everyone is having fun and there's like a joyful moment. It's surely surely hard to make sure that you have to find those perfect moments, but I guess therein lies like having kind of like not a main character energy, but like a third eye. I keep saying third eye or like a mind's eye or whatever, like a sort of like bird's eye view of the entire situation to be like, what are other people experiencing in this moment too? And am I helping or hindering the environment? Hmm. So, anyways, I'm not saying that I saying that she lacks tact, and I think that she could have a little more. And I think that her whole family agrees, and especially her dad. Her dad's like, "Yeah, you need to go back and like think about your fucking character." Because basically, she's so mad that her parents are like, "Can you not be so loud? Can you just not be so defensive? Like people are afraid to talk to you because you will just yell at their face." And she starts kind of raising her voice and being like, "Oh, what am I supposed to do then? What am I supposed to do? Tell me exactly." And her dad's like, "Okay, you're supposed to stop being so reactive, stop being so defensive, take a look at yourself and what you're doing and change at your core some of your character qualities. That's what you have to do." And she's like, you know what's so hard is that he's right. Because the thing about her situation with her family doesn't quite seem that different from her situation with her husband. And I don't want to like Anthony. I don't. Good, because I don't. But I surely don't want to take that man's side over hers. It's just that both of them, are in a weird place and she is the person that needs to move first for a lot of reasons in order to provide the safety, the space, the security for them to both evolve and progress, because if I were to say that he is like trauma bonded to Ben, uses Ben to like escape situations and specifically his marriage, maybe if there was a little more health in that marriage, there could be a little more health in Ben's future because he wouldn't have like a sort of suffocating kind of like codependent dad. But it feels like it could also like, yeah, it feels like that's kind of what we're going for. Seems like that could happen. Interesting. Yeah, she just is she's defensive and she's quick to anger. And you kind of have to just sit with yourself and knowing that of like, I'm quick to anger, I'm defensive. I don't like hearing things. It hurts to hear things, or it like hurts to hear bad things. It becomes overwhelming, or once I hear one bad thing about myself, then suddenly I'm completely terrible, or everything is maybe like tied to some trauma that she has to unwind. A lot to unpack, my loves. What do you guys think? That was the end of the episode. But yeah, I think, a lot of fodder for a lot of conversation. I kind of want the Madeline and Luke thing to move on because I don't believe that this is like a major stumbling block in their relationship. So it doesn't feel like I needed a whole episode because, of course, when we have them, we don't have other people. Yeah. Anyways, obviously on the docket, we have Sister Wives coming up, and then we will get into what's the fall schedule, my loves, with Secret Lives of Mormon Wives happening and more. We're still following HEA on DocuSweeties. That's almost done. And I have been writing some fun stuff on Substack, also trying to broadcast live on YouTube and Facebook. We'll figure out how to do Substack at some point. I'm working through all of the technical situations. I really am. It's very, very hard. But obviously, you can read anything you want on Substack. Just go and follow me. Everything's free. I'm also at Chris L. Farah on Instagram and TikTok, and I'm hopefully just making fun content on all the things. So wherever you like to listen to either me talk or look at pictures or recaps or pop culture things, because I'm having a lot of fun right now. Chris L. Farah, TikTok and Instagram, YouTube, Substack, Facebook, also my Facebook group, Vanity Farah. So hi. Hey. Yeah, let's go back, and now I want to hear what you guys thought. He said, change your character. What an insult. I would have run away crying. So hurtful. I understand, but she asked him twice, point blank, what am I supposed to do? Tell me what to do and I'll do it. And he's like, okay. Fundamentally change how you're viewing the world, your perception of the world. You're not a victim. Stop pretending to be a victim in every moment of your life, so that you can't hear other people or see other people. Because in like ignoring other people over and over again, just like maybe how you felt ignored, now people are just going to ignore you, and it's just like a weird cycle. Thank you for thinking that she's obnoxious. Manon does seem to argue with everyone. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Half of me is like, I wonder if there's going to be a scene where like Anthony and her family sit down and have like a Manon intervention where they're like, hey, girl, hey. First of all, in order to do this, and I think that they would have to acknowledge where they have faltered, because she has obvious hurt over with her family body shaming and, with Anthony, who knows. So she would have to have people feel safe by acknowledging those things, I think, first, before she would like open her heart and mind to hearing their truths. Which maybe could have been also like what the dad could have done, but yeah, it's like they just need some therapy. They maybe just need like a therapist to talk to both groups individually, and maybe everyone individually, then the groups individually, and then coming together and just unpack the entire situation. But I do think that obviously, if we're talking about her relationship with Anthony and her family, Manon is the core. And I think that if you can have her feel better about certain things and allow certain things and like shift her perspective to certain things, or realize like the minor moment before her reactive nature takes hold, to be present and really listen and hear, so that she can take what she needs from what someone has said to her and not assign anything else that is like old wounds or trigger words or whatever. So yeah, I mean, obviously, I not having Greta and Matthew are really sad for me. I want and we didn't have Jenny or Sumit, and that's fine. But we have Jenny and Sumit next episode, where we get the unveiling of their sign in the cafe. Oh my God, God bless. Can you believe it? All right, my loves. I'm going to let you all go, but it's been so lovely. Thank you so much for being here. If you haven't yet, please like this video. Please subscribe to this channel. Make sure that you've hit the notification bell, that you comment after it goes up, that you just like thumbs it up. Thumbs it up. Let the algorithm know in whatever situation that you're into it, that this is like a video that, wasn't horrible and tragic and somewhat nightmarish, if not torture for you to just sit to. But anyway, God bless. Thank you so much. Happy November. I have I have November intentions on Substack coming, and a November playlist on Apple Music and Substack. So across the board, just hope that you are sitting in the holiday spirit in whatever way that feels good for you. Make some chili. Take care of yourselves and one another. Stand up for what you believe and make art. Okay? Bye.